guys, I'm Amy, and you've landed on Belle Loves Bargains. That's my cow Effingham, and sometimes he co-hosts with me. He's got a lot to say. This channel is Dollar Tree, and only Dollar Tree. And why? Because everything at the Dollar Tree is $1.25, people. So stick around, consider subscribing, and don't forget to give me that big thumbs up. And if you want to know more about the 4 uploads I do every week, just check out the description box for more information. Enjoy!
Creole Williams lived down a dirt road. He made homemade wine like nobody I knew. I dropped by one Friday night and said, "Can you help me, Creole? I got a little girl waiting on me and I want to treat her right." He said, "I got what you need, son." And we sat down in the cellar. He reached through the cobwebs as he turned on the light and said, do you guys know it? "There might be a little dust on the bottle, but don't let it fool you about what's inside. There might be a little dust on the bottle. It's one of those things that gets sweeter with time." Okay, who sang that one? You guys probably don't know. Anyway, David Lee Murphy. Okay, there might be a little dust on the bottle. And there was some dust on the bottles. Hi guys, welcome to Belle's Bargains. My name is Amy. So you've got to have guessed it at this point, right? Well, the thumbnail probably said it. It's Jarganza, Volume 1. Yeah, so Volume 1, and I have 12 jars for you. So in case you don't know, this is a Dollar Tree channel, okay? And I do Dollar Tree crafts, Dollar Tree hauls, Dollar Tree food reviews, Dollar Tree. So I, for like a year now, have been saving, and I think I have like like over 60 jars and bottles that I've saved. And so I was like, I'm gonna make crafts out of them. I do not think I'm gonna let you down today, or in Volume 2, or in Volume 3. So if you like this one, you're gonna need to come back. It might take me 2 more weeks to get Volume 2 done. They take a lot of time, these jars do. Anyway, and I need to get some other challenges done in there and whatnot. Should we just get going? All right, behind me are 12 bottles. Here's the thing, you guys. I really tried. First of all, I tried to use different sizes. So today's theme is black and white. It's the black and white jar extravaganza, Jarganza, Volume 1. Volume 1, black and white. So I literally tried to do different things, use different things. Anyway, we'll just see what you think. So I'm going to show you in exactly the order I made them. Now, that doesn't mean that that's the order that I like them in, just the order that I made them in. Because when you're creating, that's sort of how it goes. Like one thing leads to another thing and blah, blah, blah. All right. So let me just show you. The very first bottle I decorated for you. Now, I'm going to go over these really quickly. I'm going to show you how I made them and then come back and show you the next one. So this is, I'm definitely using it as a vase. I mean, I went over the top of it. So as I'm showing you these, I'll say if I've kept it as a jar usage or as a container usage for something other than with a lid. So this one I did as a vase. Now these dried flowers were from Dollar Tree, got them like over a year ago, and they had the black. I just thought it was perfect for this whole element. Let me show you how I made this. It might be surprising. Here's the supplies, and I'm just gonna get started right away with my masking tape. So the masking tape is just ripping pieces and putting it all over the jar. Obviously on this particular jar I didn't do the whole jar because we had that decorative part on top of it, but just cutting little pieces and putting this wherever you want it on the jar, right? And then once I got it up to that decorative piece, if you did this and you didn't have the decorative piece, it's easier, but I had to trim away so that I could paint that top part. And so I just used my finger to make the indentation, got my X-Acto knife out, and then just trimmed that masking tape away along that line for the top portion of the bottle. So it's just being careful and cutting it away. And then I don't know what I do next. Do I paint the bottle next? I think I do. I think I painted the top part, which I'm just using a chalk paint to paint it and being semi-careful because there's sort of an arch to the top of the
neck of the bottle. So I'm going to use some rubbing alcohol to clean it really well, then get my black chalk paint and paint that whole neck area there. And then we're going to move on down to the masking tape part. So one thing you need to be careful is this is Dollar Tree masking tape, so it's not like super strong stuff. So you don't want to be too wet with whatever you stain it with, if that makes sense. So I ended up using a watered down chalk paint. And so you just want to not get it too wet, sorry. Otherwise you're going to peel away your masking tape, and you're just trying to get this black onto the showing the teared areas, right? So it gives it sort of I don't even know how to explain it, but anyway, it's dimension basically, right? So shoe polish is another way to do that, by the way. And then I'm just putting Mod Podge all over because we're going to seal in that paint on the glass, and we're also going to seal in that duct tape and give this just a really cool look. So I left the top of the bottle clear on purpose. I just thought it gave it like this other area, and then jute twine along the top of it. And I just put a little Mod Podge on the very top of the jute twine to keep it, sort of seal it to the bottle, I guess is the best way to say it. And then grab just a couple of beads. So if you look at the elements on this particular jar, we've got the masking tape, decoupage almost, and then the chalk paint on the decorative part of the bottle. Then we had a jute twine, which is a very natural aspect to the screw-on part of it, and then a couple of beads. So it's really a multifaceted decor on this bottle, and basically that came out because of the shape of the bottle and the design that was on the top of the bottle. So really looking at the jar or bottle that you're decorating, looking at what is all encompassing is in it is helpful to bring out the design that's going to look best on it. Okay, so I'm just going to take black beads. I broke my rule. There's one bead on each strand. For some reason that just worked on this design. Normally I wouldn't do even numbers. We all know this. And I'm just knotting it to keep it on there. So stringing the black bead through and putting a good knot on the bottom of it, putting them at 2 different levels, right? So if you look at this, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 design elements with the jute twine, the clear glass, the black paint, the masking tape, and the beads that we've just, done. A whole bunch went on this bottle, but I like it. And these were just bought this at Dollar Tree, gosh, probably years ago, but they're really cool. Just twigs and dried flowers were perfect addition in this vase.
So this idea actually came from a school craft. When my son was, I want to say 1st grade maybe, he made, I should have brought it in. Anyway, well, it doesn't matter. I still have it. He made a vase for Mother's Day, and it was, they used masking tape and shoe polish. I mean, it was phenomenal. So I took it just a little step further. I hope you guys love this one. Next one. I got to remember the order these are in too. So the next one is little zebra here. So I love this one. I probably want to keep this one. All right. So I'm going to show you how I made this. But as I'm doing this, I just want to show you certain things. Like I went with completely from scratch, like with the masking tape. This is a sheet of sticker stuff from Dollar Tree. So it really sort of just fills in the whole jar. Now this is a vase, but also this could easily be used like for holding your makeup brushes. Actually, I have one of those here or something like that. And remember, as I'm showing you these, I'm doing it in this size jar, but it doesn't mean it couldn't be done in a bigger jar as well. All right, let me show you how I made this one. This one's easy.
The zebra vase. These sticker pieces from Dollar Tree are amazing. If you find them, you should buy them. They're almost like a sticker leather, like it's like faux leather that's sticky. So it's just incredible. I picked a vase that height-wise it worked on, and I had a little extra when around it, right? So I just perforated that and then cut that off so that we had a nice meeting of the minds on the backside. It was slightly went into the top part, so I really pushed down with my thumb to get it to follow the curve at the top of the bottle. Then some Mod Podge, or is it tacky glue? I think it's tacky glue, to stick the black cotton twine to the bottom of this. So I'm just started where the zebra ends, and then I just tacky glued, paintbrush that on, and then just go all the way around, blah, 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 finish it, getting it all the way even on the bottom of this. And then once I was done putting that on, I do cover it in Mod Podge just to really seal that twine all together, and it becomes just sort of one with the glass, right? And then right here, I'm going to throw some Mod Podge all over it. Then a little hot glue at the top. Now here's the thing, when you have threading on a jar like this, you have to really work it to cover the threading. So I just go around and around and around and around and around and around and around until you get the, just get it all covered and almost even out the ridges from the screw-on part of the lid. I hope that makes sense. Because this was one I was using as a vase, I'm not going to put the lid back on it. And again, I'm Mod Podging that on there to get it to stay, because I just want it to become one with the glass. Now that I've covered up all of the screw-on parts of it right here that I'm doing right now, I'm going to take some thread, the twine, and make a braid to finish off the very top of it, so we're not even going to see glass on this jar at all. No glass unless you looked inside. And so I took my little zebra pieces. You're going to see what I do with them in a minute. I was trying to decide to do with my little leftover pieces because I want to use them. So here I'm just doing a braid, simple braid, just a basic braid. And again, that's just to do the very top edge of my glass there to finish this piece off. It was a nice little touch. It's all in the details. And then I'm going to take my little zebra pieces. I was like, what do I do with them? I actually woke up in the middle of the night. I thought I was done with this piece. And I was like, wait, what? No, I have to. So I went and got, because that's how it goes, I went and got a tile square that had the Z on it, right? And I used it to make little tags, basically, for the front of it. So I took the leftover zebra pieces, cut it, used that to adhere the twine to the back of my Z for zebra, which I thought it was cute. And then just took the other two pieces and made like little tags almost. So I had a little gathering of 3 and different sizes, and of course the Z in the center there, and tied it off, and then took all those strings from those 3 things, knotted them so I almost have a tassel effect, and cut it off so they were all the same length, and then unwound the little ends there so it's very tassely. Anyway, I love this one. And then I took the remainder of the gray twigs from the last vase and put those in here. Perfect complement. I love this piece.
Now, this sheet of sticker stuff, they have other ones there. I'm always on the lookout for them. So it's one of those items that just isn't always around, but if you find the zebra one, isn't this beautiful? And then I think I said in my voiceover, it's like a faux leather, but it with adhesive on it. It's just super cool. I absolutely love this. And it just sort of this whimsical adding of the Z on there and using absolutely every last bit of the stuff that I had. Hate it when it goes to waste. Even these sticks, which were part of the floral arrangement in the first one. Okay, so next is one that when I did it, I said, when I bought this item, told you guys I'm using it in Jarganza and you're going to be shocked. Are we shocked? Are we shocked yet? Because you should be. What is this? A very cool looking vase. I have put imitation flowers or fern in there. But you'll see, there's a bottle in there, right? There might be a little dust on the bottle. But So you can use it as a vase and put fresh flowers in it, which I think would be really cool. I went with just right now. I didn't go get fresh flowers to put in any of my vases. I get to use what I have. However, I think I'm actually going to leave it this way and use it as home decor in my home. I'm in love with this. Do we all know what it is? Watch and see.
I just love this piece, and it came out, I think, just incredibly cool. So this is so simple, by the way. So we have black chalk paint, and we're just going to cover the whole thing. And I did a lot of like pouncing because, of course, it's very porous, right? So we wanted to get into those, into the pores. And I knew I was probably going to have to come back and do a little bit of wherever I saw blue, filling in some black. So once I get it all painted, I let it dry, I take nautical twine and I unwind it so I only have one piece of the 3-string nautical twine because it was the right weight, basically, for width or size, whatever you want to call it. So I unwound it, and then I took the lighter and burned off all of the extra little fray things on it. Shoved my jar. That was your jar. That was it. There's your jar that got decorated. Shoved it into the middle of the noodle booster, and then started gluing on my nautical twine. So I'm putting glue underneath the rim of the jar, in between the noodle booster and the jar. I put hot glue in there and tack my ends of my nautical twine in, and then follow the lines of the crevice there and sort of push it in. I'm twisting my nautical rope as I go so it keeps its dimensionally what it looks like with a twist. A little hot glue and trimmer off. And then just go around and do the entire noodle booster. This is such a boho piece. It's just really cool looking. So once I get it and I'm putting my last piece on, I did figure out to trim it and then glue it down. Like, don't glue it down and then trim it. But I figured that out. It just worked better. So once I get all of those on, then I take my, you'll see, I take the black chalk paint and I fix all of my little places where we're seeing some blue. But look at how cool, even from the top view on this, right? So cool. And by putting that glass jar in there, I mean, you can put fresh flowers in this, right? So when I displayed it, I put the faux fern in there, but you can put fresh flowers, hence the reason for the jar. So now take that chalk paint, gonna fix all those little areas where we've got some blue popping out. And then the final thing, which really takes it over the edge, is we cover it in the glossy Mod Podge. That's important because it brought a sheen out that just made this piece look more ceramic. Then it doesn't look like it's a pool noodle booster. A noodle booster, I think is what they call it, actually. Anyway, it doesn't look like that. It looks like it's a piece of ceramic. It's super cool. I love this effect. I hope you guys like this one too.
So Marcus loved this one. When I first started, he was like, I don't see it. I don't see it. And then I got done. He's like, oh my gosh, yeah, I see it. So, and as I said in the voiceover, see how that almost makes it look like ceramic by putting the glossy Mod Podge over it to seal it. I love this. I love this piece. Love, 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 love. And some of these I like better than others, but I was really trying to give you guys all the different ways that you can do jars and bottles. So it's not necessarily my favorite, but really trying to show you things that you can do with these. So the next one is what we would call an acrylic pour bottle. So, and in volume 2, I'll get into some of the baking color into the glass and whatnot. So that's volume 2, not in volume 1. So this is where you pour acrylic paint in and you swirl it around and turn it upside down and you let it dry. Now for some reason, my white, just one bottle of white, was a little too watery. So keep that in mind. Check the consistency of your paint. So after I did it, I did have a few spots. Can you see them right there? where it was like really light on the paint. But it's super easy to go in and fix. I left it so I could actually show you. It's super easy to go in. I fixed all the rest of them. So this was, as I say in my voiceover, is like to kind of let the jar speak to you about how to decorate it. So I love this one. It's got like the shoulders and the hips kind of going on, right? And so following that design and accenting just above and below those, I thought was very it worked well with the jar. Let me show you how I made this one.
So I'm not going to lie, this one took a little bit of work. I did not show it, but all I did was pour white acrylic paint into the jar and swirl it around and then let it dry. However, I did have to go hit a couple of spots with some white paint after it dried where it seemed to be a little thin. But that was it. So here's your thing on this jar. You're probably not going to put anything liquid into it because, of course, it's acrylic paint inside there. Now I'm going to take these rub-on transfers and I'm going to just follow the design of this jar. Again, like I said earlier, that sometimes you let the shape of the jar pull the design out for you. So this was just such a natural thing to cover the hips sort of this jar and outline that. So I get the two strips that are the same, and I go around and rub that onto it, which worked brilliantly, by the way. And I didn't show it every time, but I was cleaning these jars off with rubbing alcohol. And then a Mod Podge over those, just because we want to make sure that they stay on. I think I showed painting a lid. However, it was not the right lid for this jar. So the lid for this was actually black. So FYI, you don't have to paint the lid. And I'm just going to put Mod Podge over this. And then we're going to take some black and white cotton twine because, of course, it matches what's going on here. And we're wrapping it around the top part of the bottle where the lid screws on. The lid is on, so I know how far up I can take my twine. And I'm just going to knot it. I'm going to add some beads on here. And then this is, again, sort of a boho looking jar. I think it's just more of a decorative piece. I suppose you could use it for hiding things in, right? Put something in it, put it on your shelf, put the lid back on. So anyway, I just add my beads on here, and then this thing is done. Oh no, I take that back. I take a bead to add to the top of the jar lid, and I put a thumbtack inside of it. So it's a really cool way to use a bead is to put a thumbtack because it caps off your bead, and it looks like it was supposed to be that way. And then you have the natural crevice in the bead for gluing onto the lid, right? So put some glue in there, thumbtack it, and then you've got your hole in there to throw glue into to glue it onto the top of your bottle. I was trying to decide if I like the little knob or not. In the end, I do, so I put that on. But thumbtack in a bead, great way to finish it off. And I could have painted it black. I chose not to. I kind of liked the little metal element, but you could, of course, obviously, if you wanted to.
I must not have filmed me putting the paint in, but all you do is pour paint in, swirl it. You're just going to swirl around, swirl around, swirl around, and then you set it down. But you do want to move it every once in a while because dripping out paint, you don't want it to dry to the lid of your jar, right? So if I can just show you guys I just popped off my bead. It's okay. I can show you guys the inside. I mean, it's kind of sloppy in there. So you're not going to use any liquid in this, and I just popped off my bead. But while I have this off, I might as well show you. So that's what I tell you about putting a thumbnail on top of your bead to finish it off. I quickly hot glued this on here. This is going to need a little permanent cement actually because of the plastic top. So I'll do that after the video. I promise. All right. So the next one is, which one was next in order? I'll have to check. A quick little crafting trick here. So on this bead, if I just heat up that glue that's already on there a little bit, ba-bam, I just stuck it back on. Okay. All right, so the next one after that was the solar one. Now, I love this. So first of all, this was the right opening in the jar for me to put a solar light into it, right? So that, I can't get it to come on right now, but that's okay. I do in a picture that I show you. But so you want to consider that, because I had to like glue this on, right? And then I cover it in twine just around the bottom of it. But anyway, okay. Let me just show you how this is made. It's very simple.
All right, let's make a solar light. So all I'm doing here is masking off the area that I'm going to paint black, because I'm going to use those ombre crystals to put all over the glass so that when we put a solar light in it, it's just going to be a pretty effect. So this is just black chalk paint, and I'm going to paint the bottom and the top that I've masked off there. So let that dry, and then this is so simple. Obviously I'm just taking those stickers, and they're very sticky, by the way, so it didn't completely wrap around, so I had to I sort of made my own pattern with it, but basically following what was on the sheet, and it's just an ombre of crystals that go on up. Then of course I didn't have the solar light that I needed, so I had to take a solar light I was currently using and take it apart to get what I needed. But it's any of those solar lights, really. This happened to be the one with the butterfly, and then you just glue it in there. And so then I took black twine to finish up the area below the solar light and above the painting where the screw-on part of the lid is. Does that make sense? And then, so once I glued it down, I just go over it, cover all of those lids up, and we're good to go. Anyway, I had already glued it down, but I think it came off as I was twirling around. But super cute. I love this.
Very simple, right? So they make these in other colors, like there's pink and there's blue, these ombre gems. But I was, of course, going for what? Black and white for volume 1 of Jarganza. So, but it's so cute. I really like this. I'm actually probably going to put this out on my back porch as a little solar light. I like it. Or I'll give it away maybe. I don't know. You know, I mean, sometimes I keep them, sometimes I give them away. Next one is the glamorous one, right? All right, so I think this is super cool. I've got some makeup brushes in it, because I think it's kind of a perfect little thing for that. So this was a disco mirror ball that I just hauled like a week ago, and it was sort of damaged. I said it didn't matter, it was the only one I found, and I wanted it for a jar. So let me show you how I made this. Also, it's pretty simple, you guys. Watch this.
Let's glam it up. Tacky glue, jar, and a disco ball. So the disco ball was slightly damaged, but I bought it anyway because I wanted the mirror tiles off of it. And the way that they put the mirror tiles onto this styrofoam ball is with double stick tape. So it was pretty easy to get it all off. And then tacky glue, and I've already got my first row on there. Tacky glue, and then, so sorry, I'm slightly out of frame, you guys, but it's like intricate work, so you end up pulling it closer. And I don't really notice until I start putting the video together. I'm like, oh, I'm out of frame. But tacky glue, and then mirror tiles, tacky glue, mirror tiles. That's all it was. And I'm not making sure that it's perfectly lined up. I don't really care. I just want the mirror tile. It did kind of almost perfectly match up, but sometimes you had a little bit different size on the little mirror tiles. So, and just go all the way up the jar. So once I got it all over the jar, and it didn't actually take that long, you guys. It was, but I also chose a small jar, and I had leftover mirror tiles for some other project in the future. Once I got it all on, I let it set for a good long time, a couple of hours. I wanted it to dry pretty well, because I'm going to come back in and put caulk on this just like you would with, you know, tile, like real tile, because I want to set it in there, fill in all the gaps, and make it look more, not make, but just make it more permanent, right? So it's going to help adhere that. It's going to fill in the gaps, so on and so forth. So this is just the caulk that I get at the Dollar Tree, of course, and we are just going to get a makeup sponge, and it was perfect for rubbing that all over it and getting it into the crevices. Again, I'm so sorry I'm off screen. I got aware of it, and I was like, okay, if I put it down, then I'll stay in frame. And so it's just, when you're doing something a little more intricate, it's hard. So I'm just rubbing it around, getting it into all the crevices. And then when you use caulk on something like this, you have to go back and, of course, wipe all the excess off, because you don't want it to dry on your tiles. So I just got a sponge, and I would wipe, rinse, 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 wipe, rinse, rinse, rinse. Pretty much that was it for the whole thing. I love how this looks. I think it came out super cool. But then once I got it all done, and I'm gonna cleaning it off here, I really had to do something with the top. So faux leather ribbon is what I ended up using, and I couldn't just wrap it around once because the crevices for the twisty of the top on the jar have to be like evened out. So I'm not going to use a, oh, I'm pulling, by the way, right here, I'm pulling off the hot glue that I used to anchor that first row. I just used it to anchor, and then I pulled it off, like, because hot glue will pull off of glass really easily. So anyway, the top of it, when I used the faux leather ribbon on it, you can't just do it once because it won't lay down flat. Whereas if you use a twine, you can just fill in all your little areas with the twine. But I'm going to use the faux leather ribbon, and so it's not going to fill in quite like that. So what I do is I go once around it, and then I'm just going to go around it like three times, I think, and I'm sort of winding up, so I end up with ribbon hanging over the top of it. So I think this is my third time going around it right here. Sorry, but you can see how it's up above the rim of the jar, which is intentional. So I'm going to glue that down, and now I'm going to run glue on the inside there and fold this over the rim of my jar, and it almost gave it like a quilted effect because I had multiple layers of the faux leather ribbon like hanging off. So I glue those down, it works perfectly, and then I'm going to top it off with one last like cleaning layer of ribbon around the top of it. Anyway, this is a very glam looking piece. I think it's perfect for putting your makeup brushes in or something like that, maybe a fancy toothpick holder, I don't know. Anyway, so right here, last row of that, and it was finished, and it looked super great. I loved this, how it finished it off. So again, because you're dealing with those ridges on the top of the jars from where the screw-on lid goes, you have to get a little creative about ways that you can hide it. And there you go. This one was how I did this one. If you carefully remove the mirror tiles, it comes off in strips, which makes this way easier to do than the little tiny ones. So another thing is that it was the size of these that was so perfect for this size jar. But they do have the mosaic glass tiles. If you watched, I think my 5 under 5, I did a little shadow box thing with the mosaic glass tiles. But they're a little bit larger, and so it would only work on a little bit larger jar, if you're following what I'm saying. Okay, anyway, I think this is super cute, very glamorous. I might give this to Scarlett just because it feels very teenage girlish, like to put your, your makeup brushes in. So, all right, so that was the glamorous one. But then I was like, you really should try and make something that's a little more masculine feeling. And so I made this one.
It's like my lava jar, I feel like. If I had a little mini quartz rock, I would have glued it on top here. I just didn't have any, but that is an option of something you could do. Okay, so let me talk about this one. Can I even open it? So I've left the lid on this one. It's a black lid, so of course it worked out perfectly, and I feel like this would be so cute in a little boy's room because it looks like lava or the moon surface or something, right? So how did we make this one? Well, let me show you.
This is the lava jar. All right, I've seen lots of people do the Epsom salt, right? So tacky glue, or you could use Mod Podge, roll it around in the Epsom salt, and then they're done. Well, I really wanted more dimension to it, so this was the first time I've ever done it, so I was playing with it, like, what's the best way to do this? I mean, it's kind of messy, but it smells really good because it was lavender Epsom salt. So I was just taking, like, tacky glue, putting it on there, and then, like, dabbing it in with a brush and filling in with chunks of like Epsom salt. So it gave me multiple layers and depths and very rigid, very moon surfacey, right? Or lava-ish looking. And that was what I wanted. That was really the look I was going for. Because this I feel like you could use in a little boy's room. It's more, or little girls. I can't even say that anymore, but you guys know what I mean. More masculine. Doesn't matter. I don't care if it's a girl or boy. It's more masculine. All right. So once I got all that on, I let it dry for a couple of hours. Wanted to make sure it was good and dry. And then now I'm going to ombre. And I just took my black and my white and a sponge brush. And I dab on my black. Then I go to gray. And then I go to less gray. And finally ending up with white. So the ombre effect worked really well. I think this came out great. I did go over the white a couple of times, just trying to make sure that white was really, really white. At the very top. Then the final thing was to cover it in glossy Mod Podge, which gave it the perfect final finish look. It's lava.
Like I said in the voiceover, like usually you see people just do it with one layer, like they roll it in it. And I was putting it on, and this is on here, you guys. Like I literally sculpted this, and I like the ombre. It just kind of gave it, I don't know. I think this one's very cool. And of course you could take the lid off of it and put some greenery or something in there easily. As a matter of fact, this is the right size for like a mini pot. So you could put, you know, something live or just faux something in there. Anyway, I think this one is really cool. I might actually send it to Moses because, again, for me, it just felt like it would just be a cool thing, you know, he could put treasures in there or something. All right, so that's the lava jar. And then this one. Now, if you guys watch my channel, you will remember that during the holidays, I must have hauled 50 jars of Tamponade from Dollar Tree. I used it in gift baskets through the holiday season. We ate a ton of it. I mean, and it's so good. I think I just finished our last bottle that we had here. And I mixed it with hummus. Oh, it's so good. Okay, but I can't eat today because I'm getting a colonoscopy tomorrow, which is probably the day you're seeing this video. So I shouldn't be talking about food. Not a good idea since I can't eat anything. Okay, totally liquid diet today. But this is, in my mind, this is such a cool shape that I had to enhance that. So again, let the jar or the bottle speak to you. So I wanted to enhance that shape. So there's one thing that's not on the video in my voiceovers. So I'm gonna talk to you about it. Watch how I made it and then I'll talk to you about that.
What do you do with a squatty jar that's square shaped? You do this right here. Anyway, I kept seeing a house in these. I might still make one look like a little fairy house or something. So I love these square tiles. And since we had, again, the jar tells you what the design is, right? So it's square, so I'm like, we should use square tiles. But of course the indents have an arch to them. So the first thing I did was I made a template of the flat arch surface area. And then I painted the whole thing in chalk paint. I had to paint the top in chalk paint. For the handle on the top of my lid, I used some Scrabble tiles, but they're letters you're never going to use. I think I used a Q, a U, and a Z, like, because you have too many of them, right? I was like, okay, I can use those, but they were the right size, perfect for adding a piece of a square on top of it to mimic our design that's on the bottle, right? So I just glued 3 of them together, cut down a little square to put on top of it, and then I'm not sure I show it, but I used a little chalk paint to sort of dry brush on the lid so it wasn't so stark white. And then that became like the little knob for the top of my jar lid. This one I'm using the jar lid. I'm keeping it on there. By the way, these bottles are that Tempenade stuff that was out at Christmas that was so dang good. And I have like so many jars this size and shape. I don't know why I kept them all. I didn't need to. All right, so now we're going to put those stickers on. And I used my template. I cut out a template, and I used my template to lay my stickers down and trim them so they would fit perfectly into the set area on each side here. So I'm peeling them off of the template, which I think you're going to see here in a second. Sorry. So all I do is take that template on all 4 sides. I pre-laid down my stickers. I trimmed them so that they curved the top of that flat side, which has an arch on the top of it. And I do all 4 sides. Comes out super cute. I love this. And then once I'm done with that, I cover it in Mod Podge to seal those on. I did not use glossy Mod Podge. I believe I used flat, but you could use glossy. Actually, I think it would look good. And then that was it. And this little jar is done. Came out so cute. I'm very happy with this. Again, just a very decorative piece. It makes me think of an oil, like not oil, an ink jar, like an ink quill pen jar. Anyway, hope you guys like this one too.
Show, and I don't know how it didn't get, I mean, this is a lot of jars though, was I literally took a piece of cardboard and put it over this, like very thin cardboard, actually it was the backing of these stickers, and rubbed it over this so I could get the basic shape of this area, and I cut it out, and then I double checked that I had the right size, then I pre-laid out my stickers. So this one got cut in half, one in the middle, cut in half, and then this one was cut in half, and I just went around and trimmed that off so that it fits on each side perfectly into the shape of the bottle, all right? And you could do that with anything like that. Just pre-shape it so you know you're gonna fit perfectly. And then this, of course, is 3 of the Scrabble tiles. In hindsight, I think I already said this, I would have just gone with 2. I did 3, but I used letters that are like Z. Although I did use a Z on my zebra one. Where's zebra? Zebra's back there. Zebra got a Z, but normally you don't use a lot of Z's. I think I did a Z, a Q, and a U or something like. But it's an option. You know, sometimes some of these things you're not going to use them for what they're meant to be because it's just not going to come out. All right, doesn't matter. Stop. But I wanted that because, of course, I wanted to put a sticker on there and incorporate the whole thing. And I did just sort of washed the black over the clear white tiles. Okay, so super cute. A very decorative piece. I think I said it in my voiceover. Really reminds me of an ink well, right? Is that what for a quill pen? Like, just, can't you just see like a feather sticking out of this? Yeah, I totally can. But I don't write with those, so it's not gonna happen. But it's like an ink, it feels like an ink well. Okay, the next one is what I call the barrel jar. So can you see why? I want to talk about this one a little bit because I made something for it that I didn't end up using. So first, let me show you how we made this. Guess what it is? Clothespins. Watch this.
All right. So little mini clothespins. I really like this look, and initially I was thinking like making this like a little tea light holder, but it ends up too dense with these all around it, so I don't know what you would use this jar for, but there's endless things. Okay, but let me just tell you how to do this, because you could do it on any jar. It just have whatever jar. You could use regular size clothespins. This one I use the mini because they fit this jar perfect. And all I'm doing, rubber band, and then fitting them around there. Obviously, I'm taking the clothespins apart. The thin part of the clothespin is to the bottom of the jar. The bigger part is to the top. The flat side is to the butt up to the jar, and the ridged parts are to the outside. So I'm fitting them in there like this, and that's going to tell me how many I need, because I'm going to paint these all, but I'm not going to paint them while they're on the jar, because then I'll have a cleanup mess, right? So I'm just going to fit them in there and then paint them. The rubber band is a great way to do this. All right, so once they're all on there, I'm going to take them off, and I'm going to paint them all in black, and then we're going to put them back on there. So I didn't count this because it doesn't matter, you guys, because it just would depend on the jar that you use as to how many you would need. And I don't even remember what this jar is. Is this like a mushroom jar? I think this is a mushroom jar. Okay, so now I'm going to paint them all black. You don't need to watch me paint them all black, but probably you're going to. Now I'm going to go with no. I probably don't show you all of it. So, and I'm not too careful, right, because I can touch up once they're on the jar, but the majority of the painting I absolutely need to be done outside the jar. So dry, and now I'm using hot glue to just set them. That's not permanent. I'm not going to remove the hot glue, but I just know that the hot glue wouldn't hold them on there permanently, but it lines them up for me so that I have them on the jar, because then I'm going to put twine around there. And I had to cut one little clothespin in half because I had a gap there. So I get one little clothespin, cut it in half, had to paint that, and then add that on there. But it doesn't matter. You wouldn't have to. You could just leave a gap in the back. Who would care, right? So then once I have that fine on there and I've got my clothespins all the way around, now I'm going to take my black and white twine, and we're going to follow the ridges that are naturally in the clothespins and just go around. I think on the top ridge I did 2, and the middle one I did 1 once around, and the bottom one twice around. Then I made this thing, but I didn't even show you how I made it because I didn't like it on the jar. You decide.
If you've watched me craft it all, you know I like to use every element of whatever it is that I'm using. So those clothespins, of course, have the little claspy thing. So I was like, oh look, I can string them, and I can put a bead in there, and it would be like a collar on this, which works. So I got it all done. I just didn't like the way it looked. However, you could, if you wanted to, you could do that. I just didn't end up liking the way it looked. I liked just the plain barrel look, but you could do either one. So there's that option. But I did think I'm going to keep these from now on, because this is a great, like, drape over a bottle, like a tall, thin neck bottle, like a wine bottle, to put a tag on. I mean, talk about using something that, what else are you going to use it for? Once before I did a clothespin one, and I made a little swing, a miniature swing, and I used these as the chain part to hold the swing. But anyway, I think it's really clever and cute putting the bead in there. Just didn't end up liking the way it looked on. Now I'm looking at it, I kind of like it. I don't know. I took it off just because I liked the simplicity of just the little barrel thing here. And I was thinking this would be a great like toothpick holder or something small like that. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. You would think I would have 1,000 ideas in my head of what you could use jars for, right? You'd think, but that's not how it works. I have my computer here so I can double check the order of these jars as I have them in here. So the next one is, it's the Be Brave. So this is a larger jar. I was literally, as I was doing this, I was trying to pull out every different size jar that I have to make something in volume 1 for you. So you could see jars being used that are all different sizes and being made into beautiful pieces or usable pieces or whatever. There's lots of ways that this can go. I was really trying to be different than what you're seeing constantly on TikTok and all that. Don't worry, I'm gonna do some of those for you. But I really did, this was sort of in my brain creations today. So this is, and I was trying to use stuff that I had from the Dollar Tree, of course, why not? I love this one. So this is a sticker from the Dollar Tree. I absolutely love it. It's just, it's, you know, a dream catcher. And so I pulled all these elements together to put this jar together. So for instance, this, which was off of, does anybody remember what that came off of? I mean, it's been in my, I keep things that I pull off of crafts. I don't think it was a cross. I don't think it was one of the cathedral windows. I don't know what it came off of, but that I pulled off a long time ago. All right, let me just show you how I made this. Hold on. I love this jar. I think it's really pretty, and I think it's just a decorative piece. You could certainly fill it with something. So again, rubbing alcohol right on your glass to clean it all off. And then this is a sticker, and it's clear background, right? So it's going to go on the jar, and you're going to not necessarily, the edges of it aren't going to stand out because it's clear. And when I lay it on the jar, I'm just really careful to watch my placement because I've got curvature on the top of the jar and obviously then the bottom of the jar. So curvature is going to be hard. I mean, obviously we have it around, but curvature is hard with stickers because to get them to lay down when you have curvature. So the little piece on the top was fairly simple. That was going to lay down pretty well for me. And then on the bottom, I'm going to cut that off, and then to get it to adhere to the bottom, I'm going to cut off the extra first. I don't need it to go round onto the bottom. Let's just cut that off of there. So I use my X-Acto knife, and then once I cut that off, I make a couple of slits where there's sort of like a V of it sticking up to help it lay down, and then I go get a blow dryer or a heat gun and heat it up a little bit to help me get that to lay down and stay down. So just a little bit of work on it, but pretty easy. Now we're going to take the rub-on transfers that are gold feathers. There was no gold in this sticker, but I add gold by transferring on some overlay of a gold feather on there, which then ties it into me putting gold feathers all over the bottle. And it was just a nice way to decorate the entire bottle, I guess is a good way to say it. So I just added a couple in strategic places on the sticker itself and then all over the bottle. And I had this piece that I had removed from some other decor piece from Dollar Tree a long time ago. I cannot for the life of me remember what I pulled it off of, but it's a piece of cork, right? That is, it says "Be Brave," and it just went so well with this sticker. And so I covered it in Mod Podge, and then I put it down on a piece of cling wrap, and then I Mod Podged all over the back side of this heart that says "Be Brave," and then I lay it on the bottle. So the cling wrap is a way to put it on there, and I can adhere it to the bottle while it's drying, and the cling wrap, the Mod Podge does not stick to the cling wrap. So I put it on there, I pull it nice and taut, and then I take another piece of, I take a rubber band and put over it, and then another piece of cling wrap and sort of knot it around it to make sure that it lays flat on the glass. Now here's the thing, because when you want to adhere something to a glass, you've got to be able to have it be pliable, so that's why the cork was perfect. And then I'm just going to make myself a little dangly on this. So I've got some ribbon from one of the, feather from one of the feather garlands. I add a gold feather rub-on top of it and a couple of other things. And we're going to wrap jute twine around the top of this. We're going to tie off our little feathers. I love the top there, by the way. See that? 2 gold leaf rub-ons and then 1 die-cut leaf on there. And I'm going to add beads, and that's it. This thing is done. I love this piece. do on it, right? I want to just point this out. Can you see where I've incorporated the gold on top of the sticker? So, and what that did was really, like right there, is then adding all these gold rub-on feathers was just perfect. So this, though, it was cork, as I said in the voiceover. The nicest thing about that is that I could literally glue it on there and form it to the bottle. I really like this one, and I love the top. Just a lot of elements going on, and the feathers, and even the choice of adding that colored bead there, which is just slightly in the sticker. Okay, anyway, I like this one. I hope you guys like this one too. It feels like I feel like you could put a gift in it actually and give it to somebody because of the verbiage of be brave. Right, but the next one I'm going to show you is my absolute favorite of volume 1 of Jarganza. And this one took a little muscle, so it's not one that probably many of you are going to attempt unless you're going to ask somebody with some muscles to help you, because it took me a little bit to get this going, but I had a vision and I was bound and determined to see it through. You're not going to see it. The visual of me making it is it's hard because a lot of it I pull in. I have to apologize for some of my filming here. When I'm doing intricate, it's so hard. I pull in and I get in my creative brain and I forget that I'm filming, and not watching. Am I in the frame? So, but I'm just going to explain to you what this is. First of all, what is it? What is it? Yeah, it's a pencil holder, and there's a jar inside, so you can put live florals in here. So I saw it, was like, I just want to see it as like a metal mesh bag. So like a piece of art, like when they do a cement bag, they make it look like a bag, but it's made out of cement. So it was kind of what I was going for here. Do you see it? I hope you see it. I see it. Watch how I made this. This was by far the most difficult one, but it came out exactly how I saw it in my head. All right, so we have this big pencil holder, and the first thing I had to do is to get that rim off the top of it, because I know that's holding my metal mesh pieces together. So I'm out of frame, sorry, but all I did was stick a screwdriver in there and start prying it, and then needle nose and worked it off the rest of the way. Now I have sharp edges on that, so I start like forming it in to give it like a neck, and then I'm going to take my needle nose pliers and just twist all these ends in upon themselves so that I don't have anything sharp. So I twist in to itself so there's no more sharp sticky edges that you can hurt yourself on. Now I'm going to take that rim that we took off and I'm going to use it to my advantage. I am going to use this to pull together my neck, so to speak, of this basket vase thing. I've put my jar inside, by the way, when I did that. Now I'm going to get metal ribbon and I'm going to form a bow. So all I did was crimp it where you would tie a bow so that I could get it to meet in the very center. And then I'm going to tie it all together with the basket itself. So I'm crimping and getting a bow, but now I've got to add it to that, and hot glue isn't going to work. So once I have this all set and I know where it's going to go, I've slowed this down so you can see it. I take metal ribbon and I cut off the very end of it, because this is going to work as my twine, basically, my metal twine. And so I cut a piece off, and now I'm putting it through that twisted lip thing that has given me the indentation neck sort of on my bag, and then I'm using this to twist on my metal bow. I love this piece. I will be keeping it. I think it's my favorite from today, and it's just super, I think it's super high-end looking. I think it's very cool, and it was the hardest to do. It took some muscle, you guys. It really did take some muscle. So, and then I just added that same ribbon to the very bottom, which just finished this piece off
wonderfully, like so wonderfully. And I just did it with, I just put some hot glue down there and held it and wrapped it around and hot glued it on the back. I'm not sure the hot glue is going to stay forever, so for making this video, I hot glued it. But I think I'm going to have to add some good cement back there, and I'll tape it down and let it dry for a couple hours, and I'm sure that would work. The hot glue just worked temporarily. But I love this piece. I hope you guys like this piece as well. It is my personal favorite for the video today. I just love it.
Because it was really hard to see what I was doing with the bow there, and I was like, never mind, I'll really explain it. So this is that wire ribbon, and I'm gonna guess you have seen very few bows made out of the wire ribbon. I think I like it better, a little cockeye. And what I did was I sort of figured out, you know, what size I wanted my loop to be, and I took my pliers and I crunched it. So it's not actually tied, it's just formed with a crunch in the part that would be in the middle of the bow. And then I took and I showed you and I cut that piece off to make it sort of what tied on my bow. And then I just connected it all there. I'm gonna make more bows with this metal ribbon. I love that. I think it looks super cool at Christmas time. What a great tree ornament, right? To make a metal bow like that and hang a ball underneath it. It just, I mean, I can see all kinds of possibilities. And I still have a lot of the metal ribbon left. It is still out there. I still see it at the Dollar Tree. So this is my personal favorite. It literally will go in my home. It took, like I said, it took muscle to crunch this all in and get it to, I love the effect. Okay, and then the very last one I'm gonna show you is probably more TikTok style, but I put my own twist on it. So, you know, I said, let the bottles speak to you. This is another example of that. So this was I'm going to turn it to get the right way. So this was a silver topped jar. And this is a silver candle holder. And it all went together so good. So I was like, I added the ribbon here. Let me show you how I made it.
Okay, so I talked about making sure that you let the elements of the jar tell you how to decorate it. So this jar had a silver lid, and it was a perfect silver. I didn't need to paint it, I didn't need anything. So I used that as what drove me to the design that it has. So this is silver metal ribbon, and I have painter's taped a nice even line to the bottom that was just the same distance from the bottom of the jar as the width of this ribbon. And so I put my ribbon down. I do use, by the way, I had to use cement to adhere that ribbon, the seam of the ribbon, onto the jar so it wouldn't come off. And then I also take that same ribbon and put it along the top. I'm so sorry, you guys, out of frame here because it is just, it's really tedious and it's hard to get that ribbon around the bottle. But anyway, I did use hot glue as a guide as it was going around. Now I'm going to take the lid and I put a little knob on the very top of the lid out of frame, but right there, you see it? And now I'm going to, this is the cement glue, this onto the base. But it was the silver lid that drove me to this, and it was so simple, and I love it.
I used hot glue to get this on initially, And then I used like the cement glue and put, like I put the cement glue and I put painter's tape over it and let it dry. So now it's not coming off. But initially you can hold it with hot glue, right? But I just did, anyway, so just FYI. Okay, and I didn't do anything else to it. Like I was like, should I put something in the middle? Should I do it? It's like, no, I'm just gonna leave it clear. This would be a super cute candy jar. This would be cute on just some display of something. I put cotton balls in it just because, and the top on it, I'm gonna take the top off. It's the only thing in this video that isn't Dollar Tree, and that is that right there. And that is because, surprise, 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 I might have shopped at another store and bought this because it was 42 cents. Okay. And I was like, as I'm making this, I'm like, oh, it's not going to be 100% Dollar Tree supplies. So I'm going to have to say it's 99.9999% Dollar Tree supplies. But it doesn't matter. I just didn't have anything this was so perfect for it. I was like, I have to. I'm going to break my own rules, but I have to. So I love this one as well. Now, that is 12 black and white Jarganza Volume 1. 12 black and white decorated repurposed jars, all from Dollar Tree. I could tell you what each one of these things was. That was spaghetti sauce. No, maybe I can't. I think this one's spaghetti sauce. I think they're both spaghetti sauce, actually. They're just two different brands. That is what it is. This one is, I think, no, never mind, I can't. Mushrooms, tamponade, olives. Maybe that's mushrooms. Apparently I can't. Oh, well, it doesn't matter because all the labels were off by the time I got started on this. So, okay, so that's it. What did you guys think of Jarganza? Please like, share, comment. This video took so much work. And so if you hold on right now, I'm going to show you a video of all of the jars for one last look. What do we call this? The final reveal, which I never do, but you're getting one right now. If you have a favorite, if there's more than one, list them all. List the ones that you liked. And again, I was really just trying to show you guys different ways. So it's not all the same thing, just redone. It is completely different. Think about every one of those jars. I did something completely different to them. So that was fun. I really enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And remember, part of it is too, like the pool noodle back here, the noodle booster, which I think is a funny name, the noodle booster. Like think about that. That's not anything that you would think about using a jar with, or the pencil holder, you know, and totally transforming an item from what its actual usage is into being something that you could repurpose a jar with. So remember to think outside the box too. Okay, guys, that's it. That was Jarganza Volume 1. Jarganza Volume 1. So, thank you so much for watching. I know this is a longer video, but that's what happens when we do massive amounts of one item. All right, everybody, have a great day, great week, a great life. And as always, there might be a little dust on the bottle, but I found it at my Dollar Tree. There might be a little dust on that bottle, but it's the last one, it was meant for me. Happy hunting at your local Dollar Tree, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.